ahead and get started. So, good morning slash afternoon, everyone, depending on where you're located. Before we get started, I just wanted to thank you on behalf of the Pac-Dent and NOAC Dental teams today for joining our webinar. We're very excited to have Paolo here to talk about All-on-X workflows. So without further ado, I'll just go ahead and introduce him briefly. So Paolo Lebrano is a master ceramist and technician. After starting his career in clinical dentistry, Paolo discovered his passion for the artistry of lab work and ceramics. Over the past decade, he's honed his expertise in implants, digital workflows, and guided surgery. So, like I said, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Paolo Lebrano today.
Hey everyone, thank you Andrew, thank you Pac-Dent, and thank you NOAC Dental as well for having me here. And I appreciate you all to taking your time to be here today at 2 p.m. During the day. All right, I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Andrew, please let me know if you can see it. You should be able to see it.
Looks great.
Perfect. I'm going to minimize this so I won't be able to see any chats, anything. So please, let's keep the questions for the end. And the lecture is about 40 minutes, give or take, and we'll go with Q&As at the end. All right, so enhancing full arch restoration, digital all-on-X workflow with Rodin Titan. So I know some of you already know me. Some of you that don't know me though, I've been a huge fan of Rodin Titan for the past few years now, since basically it came out, and it's been a game changer for me, honestly. I use it pretty much for anything. I've even tried it on custom abutments, thigh bases. It works wonders and adapts with the soft tissue, with the patient, and it reacts really, really nice. Now I'm going to introduce myself as well. I know Andrew introduced me already, but I'm going to go a little more detail. So my name is Paolo. I am a master ceramist. I grew up in Italy, and I'm currently working for Implant Concierge. If you don't know who and what Implant Concierge is, we specialize in guided surgery. So that's why I just put a single tooth-borne guide over there just to show off. But we work primarily with offices and labs, and sometimes both together at the same time, just to help labs that are not familiar with the guided surgery, with the reading cone beams and all that kind of things. So that's what I do for a living. I do guides every day. So you'll see me sitting on my computer every day, reading cone beams, planning, designing, and shipping out, along with several other people in our team. As Andrew said before, I grew up in Perugia. I did my degree in Master Dental Technology, which was a 3-degree program with lots of thesis, questions, tests. It was painful, honestly, but it got me to where I am now. Obviously, there's always been up and downs, but it was. But that's where I am now. So I worked most of my career clinical. So I worked chair side. I was in-house tech, and for a long time. And I assisted. I helped sterilization. I was doing the whole 9 yards. And about a year and a couple months ago, I joined Implant Concierge. The picture that you see, that's my hometown. That's where I grew up. We used to sit there at the stairs and we used to study when it was nice days. And on a weekend, you'll see me doing very long training. So if you try to call me or text me, there's a good chance I will not answer anything until 6 hours later, give or take. And I do Ironman's triathlon every summer. I would do it normally between 2 and 3 per summer, and it does a big toll on my body. But I still sign up. I don't know why. So today's topic: first, predictable digital dentistry, photogrammetry versus grammetry, and why choose Rodin materials. I know some of you already know photogrammetry and grammetry. I understand that. But there's a lot of people that still don't know. They still take traditional impressions. I've had a local lab telling me that they can do digital full arches, and I said, absolutely, you can. There's ways to do it. So the most common photogrammetry, in my honest opinion, is ICAM and PIC. PIC came out recently. I think it was at IDS a few months ago from IDS. They came out with the iPad where you can scan the scan body, the PIC scan body intraorally with an iPad. And then you can superimpose that STL file into your software and start moving from there. iMetric, ICAM works pretty much the same, honestly. You have to put these dominoes, these scan bodies with dots in the patient mouth. As you get it, make sure that it's seated. So take PAs, bite wings, whatever you want to take. Just make sure it's seated, obviously. If a scan body is not seated, the prosthesis is not going to work. And that goes from single units, 3-unit bridges for anything. X-rays are a must anywhere, in my opinion. Now, when it comes to ICAM, so back to ICAM, ICAM works the same as PIC, more or less. There, you have these domino scan bodies placed in the mouth, and then you export them, you put it in your Exocad, 3Shape, Real Guide, whatever software you're using, you merge everything together, and you move forward. Now, the best part about this, the photogrammetry, is that you know it's predictable. You know when you take that scan, as long as it's an accurate scan with the IO scan, with the ICAM, you know it's going to be, you're going to have a verification jig, basically. So no more traditional impression, no more open tray. Then you have to verify the model, place MUA, or if the MUAs are already been placed, that's even better. So these are both predictable equipment, piece of equipment that can be really expensive. Now, I don't know how much is PIC, honestly. I looked into ICAM myself a couple of years ago, and it was roughly $50,000. So you're looking at a very, a good expense, an investment for your lab, for your practice. If you're doing a lot of full arches, I would definitely recommend looking into these. Now the difference is between, so this is actually really cool. This is how ICAM it works. So I'm gonna use my mouse in order to move forward because the video is a little too fast and I wasn't able to slow it down. So I apologize for that. So as I said before, it avoids the use of open tray impression copings and verification J, poor soft tissue model, less chances. With the ICAM, you have less chances to have an unpredictable restoration, basically. So let's do this. You have the scan, and then you have this is all implant components. This is your pre-op scan, and then this is the dominoes that you're putting in the patient mouth after you place the implants, select the MUAs that you want, and you move forward. You scan with the extraoral camera, and which it highlights the scan body. Then you export the scan body with the DES. That's the most common one, and you start moving with your prosthesis. Now that is accurate. Your restoration will fit passively and perfectly fine without problems. Sometimes with grammetry is a little different, which is in the next slide. I'm not a huge fan. I know OptiSplint works nice. I'm not a huge fan of it because you have to glue the two pieces together. It's very expensive because that mesh you cannot, you can't sterilize it. So it's a one time only. You have the true abutment, which works really nice, and scan ladder. There's other ones out there that direct arch from Implant Direct. There's I'm sure there's a few more that the one from Keystone Industries. They also have it too. Keystone Implants, Nexus. They work fine. However, they're not as, in my opinion, they're not as predictable as the ICAM. it's a little more finicky compared to iChem. iChem is a little more predictable. It's a little more straightforward. So you got to make sure that these are all seated. You have to make sure that your IO scanner is able to capture these as well. I've had the pleasure to see Sirius from Strawman, for instance, work really nice on a scan ladder in the past month or so. I've seen Trios being perfectly fine. Dex has been a little questionable. Scan ladder is, I believe, is sold by Medit, and they're nice scanners, honestly. But definitely, you get you have to make sure these are seated and they're not touching each other. Now, the pros and cons between the two of them is that one is way cheaper compared to iChem. I believe true abutment is about $3,000. Scan ladder is $1,500, $2,000, give or take. So they're way cheaper compared to $50,000. Now, I put this STL file, this picture of an STL file of a case that I did a few years ago, where it actually got published on Dentistry Today using Rodin Titan, and it was upper and lower hybrid. I couldn't find the lower STL file, and so what we did at a time is we put floss around the scan bodies, and we made sure we locked that floss in place with Duralay resin pattern, and make sure that it was stable. It's like your verification jig. It works. However, it's time consuming. It takes forever. Plus, you're dealing with saliva, and you're not dealing on the model. Like on the model, it takes you 5 minutes to put floss around. Not even 5 minutes. If you put the whole Duralay verification jig, it will take you 5 minutes. But if you're doing it just with floss, it takes you 30 seconds. Really, it took us a while to do this technique. Now, the other way that you can do it is ortho chain. If your office has an ortho chain for ortho, you can use that. Sometimes it doesn't fit on the scan bodies, specifically the desk scan bodies. They're pretty large. They're pretty big. I've used the ortho chain with the JA scan body, and it works perfectly fine. And that's how the scanner is able to capture and stitch all STL files, pictures within each other. So like I said before, the pros and cons between photogrammetry and grammetry is that the pros is that, it's the most accurate. That's no question. There's lots of studies out there. If you're part of the Full Arch Masters group on Facebook, it's all documented. Each one of them, Micromapper, PIC, other type of iChem and other type of photogrammetry, they're all documented. So the cons, though, is that it's an expensive investment. The pros in grammetry, though, is that it's way cheaper. We're looking at, let's say, a couple $1,000 compared to photogrammetry, and the problem is that the fit can be an issue, and I've seen it many times. I've seen it that that scan body was not placed correctly. You didn't notice, but that goes for anything, even a single unit. If the scan body is not placed correctly, even for a single unit, that implant crown is not going to fit. So, but oftentimes, even with the grammetry, the scanner, even a good scanner like a Prime Scan Trio 5, is not able to capture that grammetry portion. So the mesh, I've seen issue with Nexus, where they will produce a bar, goes in the patient's mouth, and they take X-rays, verification, and doesn't fit. Same thing, Dentsply Sirona. Dentsply Sirona has their bridge base. Beautiful. It's really nice. However, I had one case that it didn't fit, and we did the exact same things that they told us to do, but it didn't fit. So there's always pros and cons in this field, honestly, but photogrammetry is the gold standard for full arches. There's I'm sure in a week or in 2 weeks, something's going to come up, something new, and this slide is completely obsolete at that point, because that's how it goes. Okay, so I don't know how many of you do full arches, and I figured I'm going to put this here because you need to. There's a lot going on when we're talking about full arches. Like as a clinician, obviously you have to take a cone beam. FMX, if you know what FMX stands for, is full mouth X-rays. Photos. Photos, when you take photos, it has to be like a ortho style. So you have 8 pictures. I believe it's 5 pictures actually, where let's do 6 pictures. Smile, front, side, smile, side, and retracted. Why retracted, and why do we need all these photos? Well, we need one photo with the lip, with the closed mouth at rest. We want to see where that where the lip is falling. Do we need to open the bite? Do we need to do something? I also recommend, if you have to open the bite by a lot, and I say a lot, I mean like 5-6 millimeter, I would probably recommend to do a COIS deprogrammer, and just to deprogram the muscles. Because remember, if the patient is biting really down, has a very, very severe deep bite, those muscles are really contracted. They're really, that's how they are. That's what they feel. So when you open it, the muscles are like, okay, what's going on here? We can't use this. I don't like this. And they're going to start breaking teeth. They're going to start breaking this. They're going to start breaking that. And it can cause implant fails. Most of the cases that I see, they're not that severe, but I've had a couple cases that were that severe, and I recommended a deprogrammer, and it worked fantastically. When we put the temporaries in, the patient felt fine. It felt comfortable. That's what we want to do at the end, right? So as a lab, you need obviously intraoral scanners. If you don't have an intraoral scanners, please get one. It's 2025. There's lots of options out there nowadays. It's so much easier for you, for your patient. If you take an alginate, the alginate is all distorted. You have to retake it, versus a scan. You can just, you don't like that scan, delete, redo it while the patient is still in the chair. It's just easier. And as a lab, you also need those photo of patients, because when we do these cases, when we do these wax up to determine midline, aesthetics, function, and everything else, honestly, when I say aesthetics, my opinion in aesthetics is function, midline, contours, everything. That's my definition of aesthetics. And as a lab, we superimpose that STL file onto the patient picture, whether he's smiling, he or she is smiling, or retracted, it doesn't matter. As long as we have a good orientation of that picture, then we'll be able to use it. And once you, my philosophy when it comes to full arches is I prefer to do a wax up ahead of time before even the surgery gets done. Because if it's guided, then it's a prosthetically driven guide, right? So there's nothing worse than you're doing a wax up and the surgery is already done, and then you see all these screw access all going everywhere, when this can be predicted way ahead of time. And you know, when it's a prosthetically driven guide, you know that prosthesis, that temporary, is going to look exactly as the final. Maybe some modification on the contours, some modification on line angles, or modification on the bite. That's expected, in my opinion. So that's my philosophy. I always like to try out my wax up ahead of time. That's not often the case, unfortunately. So Pac-Dent, some of you, I hope most of you know who Pac-Dent is and what they do. And then, you know, they've been around for 30 years, over 30 years actually. and they always focus in high quality dental solution, dental products, and I believe they also make the chairside clinical products as well. And like the soft reline, for instance, that's mostly clinical, works beautiful. And I don't know if you guys knew the news, but last month, Pac-Dent acquired Accurata. And so this is really exciting because it brings up a total different new opportunity to print and to print all these wonderful Rodin products, honestly. So I'm very excited about this when I heard the news. All right, why choose Rodin? Question of $1 million. Okay, so you all know that I love Rodin Titan, and I've been loving it for years now. I tried Sculpture 2.0. I tried Rapid Serum, and they all work absolutely fantastic. Oh, and Denture Base 2.0. There's a few other ones that I tried, obviously, but the Denture 2.0, what I can tell you about that is that it does not change color. It stays the same color for so far. It's been 2 years, I think, 3 years, and has not changed color. The Sculpture 2.0 is really meant for Cronenberg, honestly, but it works nice. It's nice and strong. And the best part, as Rodin Titan, is that it's radio opaque. So that's really the best part. When I place an implant crown with Sculpture 2.0 or a hybrid with Titan or Cronenberg with Sculpture 2.0, I want to see that X-ray to see that margin is all sealed, there's no cement and whatnot. That is the best. I tried other resins before and they were not radio opaque. They were all translucent. You can't see anything. You just see the line of the cement. So that's one thing that I really love about Rodin Titan, Sculpture 2.0, and Rapid Serum. Those are the three main topics for today, honestly. And obviously, the glaze N2 free. That has been a game changer for me, to be honest. The N2 free is I'll go into a little more detail later, but it's a phenomenal product, and if you're not using it, you're doing something wrong. If you're still using the original Rodin glaze, I would highly recommend to change it. You don't need nitrogen, obviously, and secondly, you can stain and glaze zirconia as well. So Rodin Titan is meant for all on X cases, but I use it for single crowns as well. I've used it for pretty much anything. It works really good. It works really good. It is my go-to for all on X though. Like all my all on X that I print that I post on social media, they're all done with Rodin Titan, no questions. And I stain glaze with the Rodin Palette 2.0 all the time. So you'll see the strength, the flexural strength between the two, between all of these really. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. I haven't had any Titan fracture, and I've used it just by itself. I've used it on top of a bar. No issues whatsoever. Actually, I have one case that I got delivered 2 months ago. Bar, and I believe I did post it. It was a bar occluding with the opposing because not enough occlusal clearance, and I put Rodin Titan. It got delivered. Never got a picture back, unfortunately, but it came out awesome. So highly recommend using it even on top of your bars. It just works really, really nice. So I mentioned Rapid Serum is Sculpture 2.0. A lot of people don't know what Rapid Serum is. It didn't come out. It came out recently. And when I say recently, within the past year, I believe. It does print fast, faster than other resins. It can use for same day crowns, teeth, and hybrids too. I believe Dr. Rick Ferguson is using it for for all his hybrids. He's using rapid tearing for all of his hybrids, and it's a beautiful resin. It's very nice aesthetic. So you got to be careful. Make sure to make that hybrid a little ugly, because the patient is going to walk out and not come back to you. That's how pretty it is. Sculpture 2.0, I normally use it for single units and crowns and some bridges. Anything full arch with crown and bridge is Rodin Titan, just because I like that flexural strength compared to Sculpture 2.0. Sculpture 2.0 is a little more is not as flexible as Rodin Titan. So I prefer to use a little more flexibility. I have a little more flexibility compared to have something more rigid. So I designed this case not too long ago. It's a double hybrid, and the reason why I'm showing this is not because there's definitely some modification that I need to do on this hybrid. I can tell you right now, it's not the best design I've done, but there's two different workflows here. So the upper was done with a micro mapper, so it's a type of photogrammetry, and the lower was actually a direct to fixture. Yes, there's still people doing direct to fixture, believe it or not. So upper and lower hybrid, I basically followed the current dentures that she has. Make sure one key point, and I say this to every lecture I do, and to whoever followed me, they can probably agree with me that I say all the time. When you design a hybrid, make sure that the intaglio is not concave, or you're getting a food flavored hybrid. It's not good. Don't do it. But you see the MUAs. This is a direct to MUA workflow. Like, it's pretty much gold standard. Now, this is direct to fixture. You have tie bases. These are marked tie bases that I'm gonna obviously use non-engaging. Yes, I left a massive cantilever. I 100% know that. Bad mistake. Cantilever, that's gonna break. Luckily, it hasn't broken yet. So I'm praying that Rodin Titan is doing his job. All right, end-to-free glaze. This to me was a game changer, because I've used it for pretty much anything, even adding a contact on Emacs. I had a contact on zirconia. I glaze a full arch in zirconia. It works awesome. It works absolutely awesome. One thing that I would recommend, if you want to glaze zirconia, or you want to add a contact or something, I will apply a bonding agent. It doesn't hurt. It only helps. So I would apply it in like a Monobond, let it dry, and then you apply it and cure it. And you can use your curing wand. You can use your auto flash. You can use whatever curing light you need. It doesn't matter. You don't need nitrogen, so you can use whatever you want, really. So that's the best. This is the best part. The other best part about the end-to-free is that if you're doing a denture, and you need to glue the two pieces together, the denture teeth onto the base, you can use the end-to-free instead of using the the resin material. The end-to-free creates a more mechanical bond between the two of them. So, and it's very, very nice and strong. There's no way you're gonna break it. So this is a critical topic that I still see almost on a daily basis on Facebook. Why is my prosthesis chalk white? Well, you wash it in IPA. You can't wash in an IPA. You just can't. Anytime I wash my IPA, my prosthesis, Rodin Titan Sculpture 2.0, It takes me about roughly a minute and a half, give or take. If you wash an IPA for over a minute, you're going to get chalk white, and it can compromise the particles in the filler, in the ceramic filler, and you get this chalk white that it's kind of a pain to remove it. You have to sandblast, you have to micro etch, and do it again. It's not ideal. When you're when you're doing a staining glaze, like I'm showing here, and I'll explain in a second what it is. Um, Staining glaze and cure at the same time. Don't glaze it first. Like don't cure it first and then glaze it, because then you're over curing it. It's gonna turn from an A1 to A5 in a heartbeat. So when I stain glaze my most of my hybrid, I follow this procedure, this protocol, and it's been part of me since I started using it. My first is I use my magenta, a little violet. That's my first coat. Sorry, my first coat is glaze, cure for 1500 flashes, and then I do my violet for 500 flashes. Then I'm gonna start doing my pink. I do like to use the red, and I try to spread it out nicely and even. The reason why you want to spread it out nice and even is because if you put too much red, it seems like this patient has Perry disease. And trust me, I thought did a beautiful arch a few years ago, and I put a lot of red because I thought it was gonna look awesome. I looked in the mouth, I was like, oh my god, this looks like Perry disease. I have to redo it. So that has been my technique. I use pink and red and then red to just definition of depth and whatnot. But I don't go over 4,500 flashes. That's the max that you can do on the auto flash. And if you're using the N2 free, you don't need the nitrogen. Now, I believe the auto flash without the nitrogen hookup has been discontinued, if I'm not wrong. So there's only one auto flash now that you can, or is available in the market. So this is interesting. Rodin Titan delivery. How long has been there? How long is that shine's gonna hold up? Well, if you guess 8 months, that's exactly what it was. This was 8 months. There's no stain. Everything looks nice and even. Everything looks good. There's no complication everywhere. You do see a little too much red on the left side of the patient. No one cared. I kind of did, but that's okay. But that's what I'm showing. This is this looks, it's still like looks like it's day one. This is the best part about this material. Now, IPA. So let's face it. I don't know about you guys, but that smell is nasty. Absolutely nasty. I did a presentation a few months ago on how to have your lab, your clinical office nice ventilated, because the IPA is not good for you. It's not good for your lungs. Then you smell the resins. It's not good. There's some resin out there that really smell. You think it's a bad batch, but that's how they are. So it's never really. You need to have proper ventilation regardless of that. Now, the universal resin cleaner is actually really cool. You don't need. I can't say you don't need ventilation. You still need it, but it's has no odor. There's no strong odor compared to your IPA. And the best part is that if you clean it, let's say for a minute in IPA, you're getting that chalk white like in the picture. Versus if you clean it with 1 minute with the universal resin cleaner, you're not getting that. So that's also pretty awesome solution, honestly. Now, when you're using the resin cleaner though, I recommend, it gets a little oily, and that's part of the deal. But I would recommend to make sure to dry it completely. Make sure to use as much air as possible. Make sure it's fully dry. My good friend Ore also recommended to use a microfiber and just tap it there on the prosthesis to remove all the oil, and that will do the trick. I just let it dry for about an hour and it worked fine. But if you're in a rush, use the microfiber cloth and just do it like that. It works. It works awesome. You can use the resin cleaner for pretty much anything. You can use it for any resins that are available in the market. Whether you're using a Siga, whether you're using a Curetta, whether you're using frozen 4K or 8K, whatever it is now, Sprint Ray, it works awesome. And you have this awesome offer. So if you buy from Noack Dental one bottle of 1.2 kilograms of Titan, you get 1 free gallon resin cleaner. I will jump on this in a heartbeat, to be honest with you. And I unfortunately not going to NOLA that fast, and my heart breaks honestly because I really really wanted to go, but I have some scheduling conflict that it's not letting me. I can't go, but definitely going there. Pac-Dent will also be there as well. So if you have any questions about anything, you can go there, ask them. You can reach out to me as well. I'll leave my email and phone number at the end of this presentation. You can reach out to Sean and Noack or anyone in Noack, and they can help you out. We'd like to thank all of you for being here, Pac-Dent, Noack, and a special thanks to Jorge at Dental Chronicles. The QR code for Dental Chronicles, please scan it. Me and Jorge are actually running the podcast, so whoever wants to be on the podcast, please send us an email. We'll get you in. We'll interview you basically, and it'll be a fun time. We talk about digital dentistry basically, so it's nothing crazy. We're not going to talk about personal life or anything like that. And my contact information is over there. Phone number, feel free to text me, call me. Don't call me at 2 in the morning because I'm not going to answer, or on the weekend because I'll be cycling most of the time. But feel free to email me any questions you have. And I'm open for Q&As.
Okay, everyone. So like Paolo said, we have a bit of time right now. So if there's any questions anyone had about the workflow, about the Rodin materials, or any questions that we have for Paolo, feel free to put them in the chat and we can get to them.
Oh, I see it. Okay. So what's the proper curing for N2-free glaze when working with zirconia? Great question. I use the autoflush. That is the gold standard for everything. So when you're doing that, I just use 4500 flashes, unless you have to do some periodization. Then always make sure to break it down. I prefer to break it down. I don't know if it really matters, to be honest. I never try to do more than 4500 flashes. So I will keep it at 4500 flashes then, just to be on the safe side. I do have another hybrid coming up, and I'm planning to use the Rodin Palette 2.0. I'll give it a shot and see how it works with more than 4,000 flashes. Can I use that on my PMA, the N2 free glaze? So I don't think the N2 free glaze will work on the milled PMA. It's been so long since I used the milled PMA, honestly, that I've been printing all the time. I don't think it works because the chemicals are different. I'll shoot me an email, please, and I'll try to find more information about that. L-shaped bars, scan bars are extremely difficult to use in mandible arch because of all. Yes, that is very true. It's very, very difficult actually. It's not easy, especially when the patient has a massive tongue and it starts going sideways. It's a pain. Preferred design software. Ah, that's $1 million question there. What I love RealGuide. I've been using RealGuide for all my hybrids for the past 3 years now, and I still use it. If I have to use a custom abutment, I do prefer using 3Shape. I think 3Shape works best for that kind of matter. But when it comes to hybrids, bars, I use RealGuide all the time. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Trying
Okay,
to see.
so if there's no final questions for Paolo, I just want to say thank you again, Paolo, and thank you to all of you for coming to our webinar today. We'll be sending a follow-up email with more details about that exclusive promotion that Paolo talked about. And feel free to reach out to the Pac-Dent or NOAC dental teams or Paolo himself if you have any questions that come up along the way. Thank you again for all your time today, and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you.